Yes, indeed. What a wonderful weekend it is. What a wonderful time to be organized in a minimalistic way. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Land Skirt. We're still going to do our show later on, but we're going to have this one now. I promise that we're going to increase the amount of quality content and not the buffoonery that many put out there. And I have to applaud the other platforms that put out good stuff. And I'm realizing that I'm not 16 years old anymore. I'm 61. So I think it's time for that I grow up and try to address some issues here for the time that I have left on this earth. But today we're going to talk about the impact of gentrification on Black families and the loss of generational homes. This is not anything that's unique, but many of us know somebody, or if we don't know somebody who's going through this, somebody who in our family, we have gone through this. So we have to do a little talking about this stuff because it's very important, because it doesn't have to be that way. I know families that on their own, without gentrification, have lost their homes from foolish spending and childish rifts, family rifts that are just, I don't know, foolish. But let's start by explaining what gentrification is. Gentrification is the process by which urban neighborhoods, often with lower income residents, experience an influx of higher income individuals, leading to changes in the community's character, culture, and economic structure. In theory, gentrification can revitalize neglected neighborhoods with new housing, infrastructure, and businesses. However, this process often displaces the existing long-term residents who can no longer afford the rising costs of living in that accompany such change. For Black families, especially those who have lived in their neighborhoods for generations, gentrification threatens more than just displacement. It erodes the very foundation of family stability, cultural identity, and economic security. In Black communities across America, the loss of generational homes due to gentrification is a critical issue. These homes represent more than just property. They symbolize heritage, familial continuity, and economic grounding. Losing these homes due to the rising cost of taxes, utilities, and the general cost of living exacerbates existing economic challenges and causes emotional and psychological strain. In this discussion, we delve into 15 distinct issues affecting Black families as their neighborhoods gentrify, followed by a breakdown of the gradual process of losing a generational home to gentrification and strategies to help families hold on or transition smoothly. Here they go. Number one, rising property taxes. As property values increase due to gentrification, long-term Black homeowners find themselves unable to keep up with the rising property taxes, which often leads to forced sales or foreclosures. Number two, increased cost of living. Gentrification raises the overall cost of living, including groceries, utilities, and services, making it increasingly difficult for long-term residents to afford basic necessities. Number three, loss of cultural identity. As wealthier newcomers move in, Black communities often lose key cultural institutions such as churches, social clubs, and Black-owned businesses that serve as the backbone of their neighborhood's identity. Number four, police pressure and over-policing. New, wealthier residents often bring different expectations of safety and policing, which can result in increased law enforcement presence and higher rates of profiling of Black youth. Number five, renters' vulnerability. Black families who rent their homes are especially vulnerable to eviction when landlords sell properties to developers or raise rents beyond what tenants can afford. Number six, erosion of extended family networks. Gentrification offers, or excuse me, gentrification, I wish it did offer something, often forces multiple generations of Black families to scatter, breaking apart extended family networks that provide financial, emotional, and practical support. 7, predatory real estate practices. Developers and real estate agents target Black homeowners with lowball offers, pressuring them to sell their homes below market value, contributing to the community's displacement. Number 8, displacement from public schools. As neighborhoods gentrify, local public schools may undergo changes that push out long-term Black students in favor of wealthier, newer students, reducing educational opportunities for existing families. Number 9, lack of affordable housing alternatives. Once displaced, Black families often find themselves priced out of other nearby neighborhoods, forcing them to move to areas with fewer resources, job opportunities, and social services. Number 10, decline in social capital. The loss of Black families from gentrifying neighborhoods means a decline in social capital, or the community bonds that help families navigate challenges such as unemployment, health crisis, and education. 11, mental health struggles. The stress of gentrification leads to increased rates of anxiety, depression, and hopelessness among Black families as they grapple with the fear of losing their homes and community support. Number 12, pressure to assimilate. Black families who stay in gentrified neighborhoods often feel pressured to assimilate to new cultural norms, leading to a loss of cultural practices, languages, and traditions. 13, increased competition for jobs. Newcomers can bring higher levels of education and skill sets, creating in competition for jobs and pushing out long-term Black residents from local employment opportunities. Number 14, social isolation. As Black families move away or become surrounded by unfamiliar neighbors, they may experience social isolation and a loss of community support systems. Number 15, generational wealth depletion. Losing a generational home means a loss of an asset that could have been passed down to future generations, contributing to the wealth gap between Black families and other racial groups. Now we're going to speak about the gradual process of losing a generational home to gentrification. Increase property values. Gentrification starts with new developments, cafes, and boutique stores. Property values rise as wealthier residents move in, leading to a spike in demand. Escalating property taxes. As property values increase, so do property taxes. Black families who may have lived in their homes for generations face sudden and unaffordable tax bills. Lack of access to financial assistance. Many Black families lack access to financial resources or programs that could help them manage rising costs, such as property tax exemptions or home improvement loans. Pressure from real estate developers. Developers often target Black homeowners with aggressive offers to buy their properties. Families may sell under pressure, believing that they have no other choice. Increased utility costs. As infrastructure improves, neighborhood becomes more desirable. Utility costs such as water, electricity, and even garbage collection rise, compounding financial pressures. Limited legal knowledge. Many Black families are not aware of legal protections or assistance programs that can help them stay in their homes. This lack of knowledge leaves them vulnerable to displacement. Foreclosures and forced sales. Black families who cannot afford the rising taxes and costs may face foreclosure or be forced to sell their homes, often below market value due to financial strain. Eviction of renters. Black families who rent are often evicted by landlords seeking to sell their properties to developers or new buyers willing to pay higher rents. Splitting of extended families. Gradual displacement scatters families across different neighborhoods, often far from one another, leading to weakened family ties and reduced community support. And finally, final departure and loss of home. Eventually, the pressures become too great and the family is forced to leave the home. This loss represents not just the physical displacement, but the erasure of familial history, cultural roots, and economic stability. But all is not lost. What we have to do is speak about some solutions, because there are some. I want to list, and before I say that, Sweet D and Reese, welcome on in. This is just going to be a short, early one. I just had it in my bones. We're just flowing with everything. You know, when you clean house and you breathe in and you say, man, it's so clear. I got so much energy. There's nothing to stumble over. I'm glad you both are here, and I know there are a few more watching, but it's okay. I got you. I'm good, right? And again, this is not going to be super long. And if anybody wants to come in and say something, feel free, but we're just going to go through these. I want to put it out there because I got a phone call this morning about a family that I know in my old neighborhood in New York City that lost their home. And it was several grown people living there. And it was really a foolish reason why they lost their home. They had an argument over some long-term disagreements. They're all in the same boat. They're all living in the same house. And they all decided to pull back on what they were contributing to pay the mortgage. How foolish. Now they have no choice but to leave. Give me 1 second to sip on some water, and I'm going to come right back. So no, give me 15 seconds. I'll be right back. I don't know whether it's because I moved to Africa. I'm much more in love with water than before. Good, clean, fresh water. Does wonders for an aging body. But here you go. Let me move this here for a second. You know, right? You see what Sweet D said? She said, you sure it's not going to be long? We know how you do. Exactly. You never know. I always say that, right? But I have more for later that I want to work on. And that's the only reason why when I'm through with the list, pretty much if there's nobody to engage with, you know, I'll say a few things and then I'll cut it. But it's easy doing it this way. And like I dedicated, even though my studio is not finished yet, it's coming within a month or so. And I'm hyped about it. So every minute that I can create content, I'm having a lazy, relaxed Sunday, but my mind is working full time. So all these different topics to speak about were hitting my brain. So I said, well, let me do one early. There's no time limit on it. So it probably won't be 2 hours or even 1 hour, but I will be back. And tonight we'll really get down again. And I have something that I want to do in between then. And I'm experimenting with some new programs to just trying to increase my skill set because, you know, I want to get back into the several different streams of income online, or as long as we have the internet, learning different programs with digital art, editing, and different stuff. So I want to do that. And that will make the show better, and that will make me better. That even though I'm retired from a 9 to 5, somewhat, you know, it wasn't a 9 to 5, I can still strive and gain financially while we can. And to do it in a fun way with what I already know to do and what I like to do with the time that I have. So yeah, it's going to be a constant. But let me get to these 10 solutions. 10 solutions to help Black families hold on or transition smoothly. Seek property tax exemptions. Investigate property tax exemption programs available to long-term homeowners, particularly for elderly or low-income residents. You know, I just want to say in the Black community, especially those that are gentrifying and even some of those who are not, many of us do not know what's available to us. And remember, Some people will say, well, it's low income. They'll excuse the elderly and they'll still secretly look at them as though they're a burden, but they're not. But for low income families, whatever the reason why you're a low income family, understand that this country is refusing to pay reparations. And while we strive for our own and try to hold it down ourselves, receiving something from the government is not a bad thing. This government would not be there if it wasn't for our lineage, legacy, and bloodline. And we are owed. Yes, we are. They do it. They pay everybody else. There's nothing wrong with it. And they're not going to broadcast these things to you. These people who are bloodthirsty, looking to get your property, they're not going to say, well, you can save your property and shave off a little bit of your output as far as your bills and your money by going into this program that's available to anybody. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to sit there and watch you sink and divvy up what you have, what your family had for so many years for their profit while you suffer. And they do not care. Educate families on financial resources. Empower Black families with knowledge about grants, loans, and financial assistance programs that can help them rent homes or manage rising costs. Build community coalitions. Form coalitions with other long-term residents to collectively resist aggressive buyout offers and advocate for fair housing practices. See, the thing, in Orlando, Florida, I knew some of the local politicians there, Oh, no, I know. We're never saying, oh, it's everybody and all. No, we know. And, but people have to know that. Sometimes people still attack me. But like I was saying, I've known, and I don't mean to say low level, but I mean, it weren't like mayors or whatever. Well, I've known of, and some have cut me a couple dirty looks because I talked about them on my channel. But some of the city commissioners in certain districts, on my old videos that pretty much are gone, I've done video work for so many who were going for elections and going around town, and that's way back in the old days, over 10 years ago, 10, 12, 13 years ago. And I've learned how things work. And I was also asked to come and attend some of the local district meetings. Not that I'm anybody of note, but because of the person who may have been a Black politician running for a certain district commissioner's office, they were there representing. And her and I were the only two Black people there out of the maybe 150 white folks that didn't even live there, that are coming there and planning to come there in that gentrifying neighborhood. They're coming there. They don't even live there yet. And none of the Black people that lived in that poor Black neighborhood were there. This is why sometimes I get disgusted, because these people would not do their due diligence. And they would make sure to hold these meetings early. I mean, early. 7 a.m. we will be convening at the 7 a.m. Come on. I mean, I could make it if you said it was 4 a.m. because I'm crazy like that. You're not going to put an obstacle course in front of me and make me trip because I'm very disciplined. But if you're up partying the night before, drinking, I'm not saying this is all these Black people do. The young ones, they're doing their thing. The older ones, they're doing their thing. Things that they feel are important, they make sure to do. And this is something very important. When they're wondering why all of these other people are coming into their neighborhood and they're seeing Starbucks over there and they're seeing Whole Foods over there. But why is it like this? This is our neighborhood. Well, if it is, why don't you show up to have a voice and or also know what's going on? But they don't. We wait until it's too late. I wasn't even from that neighborhood. But I've been to different places across the country and read the local papers wherever I am. I read the local papers. I'm online and something happens and I just don't talk about the story. I read about what's going on in the neighborhood overall. If I know somebody from that area, I'll ask how it is and get not just one person's opinion. I talk to people from all over the world. We got WhatsApp, y'all. There's no more area codes. There's no more long distance phone calls. But we don't think global. We don't take care of the local. What do they say? Think globally and act locally, right? We have an area of concern and we have an area of control. We are concerned about things all over the world, but we may not control them because it's far away, but we can impact them if we do what we have to do in our local area. Diane, how are you doing? Welcome on in. Landon Price. Wow, thank you. Thank you for being here. But it's true. And all these folks are worried about Kamala Harris who don't give a damn about black people. But they're focusing on that as opposed to doing what they have to do locally and unifying and forming these coalitions on things that will save them money and impact their lives in a more direct way. In a more direct way. You can't go to any president and talk about they're foreclosing on my house unfairly or complain about a predatory loan. No, it takes teamwork. And sadly, in many black neighborhoods across America, I do not see any teamwork. There are always those that are willing, and there are some that do. And we don't celebrate them or follow their example enough. We don't. We just, I don't know, do we feel hopeless? Do we feel like we can't make an impact? Yes, we can. If there's anybody who wants to even, look, I'm in West Africa. A lot of the people who moved here from America, they don't give a damn. Black folks that have been right there, elbow to elbow with you. I'm in Africa now. I don't give a damn about them Negroes out there. My dreams are still in America. I dreamt of the motherland for the freedom, the beautiful land, and financial decisions where I had a mortgage, now I don't. But where's my heart? Where's my heart? People that get locked up, I worked as a corrections officer. They get along for the most part with those they're locked up with, but their hearts are back with their family. And there'll be people that don't know me that come on and they're still my family because we have a certain proximity to the environment there and how we're treated. We have that in common. I know that pain. I know that frustration. When I have dreams, I haven't one dream yet where I'm running down here on the side of the African mountain. The other night I dreamt I was up in Harlem as a kid, walking up and down with my father. You know what I mean? My heart is still there. I'm here, I live here, and I love it here. But my heart is still there. So this is why I like to explain certain things. I'm not anybody's teacher. I'm not anybody's preacher. But when I research some of these things, I learn. So if I learn something, I'm only speaking in the spirit of saying, hey, this is what I found out, mixed with this is what I already know with my personal experience, and here it is. Whatever you can use out of it, fine. Just pass it along to somebody who can. You see what I mean? Yes, Sweet D says, black people fighting so hard for Kamala. Do that for our people. Right. You're right. You know, and Diane, let me just say that I made the show at the last minute, this one. From what I'm finding, say for example, I create a show that's already in the can for a certain time. It's made today, but it's going to come out tomorrow night. Oh, you will get that notification. When I make something like an hour and a half before I actually broadcast it, lots of times, you know, it's out. So let's wait and see until when I make something for the next day or so, and do a lot of spontaneous stuff. Sometimes I'm going to go live on my phone when I'm way out in the world and just want to put it out there, make you see something as it's happening. And you probably won't get a notification for that. I also found out that when you do more than, like if you do 3 videos in a day within a 24-hour period, the 4th one is not going out. So I have a hunch that possibly, I don't think anybody here got a notification, right? Let me know, because I did 10 video shorts earlier today, 10 of them, separate ones, just for a minute. I like it, and it brings a little attention. It's like little flyers outside of the club. Just little 1 minute pieces of wisdom on the shorts page. I do those every day. I said, you know what? I'm going to do 10 today. It was beautiful outside. So I think because I made those 10, that nobody is going to get giant again. Welcome on in. Yeah. When I do that, I kind of mess it up. So what I might do is create those shorts and put them up after, within that same day that I do a show. So that's going to take a little tricky timing for me. You know what I mean? But the WhatsApp group, where it's not a group, nobody sees you, nobody knows you. It's just what I put up. You'll catch a show there or a link before I do it. I'll always put it there. And I didn't do it today, admittedly, because I had to go back out and do something in the garden. Let me take a sip of water, y'all, and then I'll continue on with our points. Hold tight. This water good. Sandra Morris, I saw you come on in when I was running my mouth. Sorry, I didn't acknowledge you right away as soon as you came in. I'm sorry. But I'm just glad you all are here. Let me take another sip, y'all. And as many well know, I like to go in with surgical precision. Like, this is a topic, you've heard about it before, but I want to go like a step further. You see the impact of gentrification on Black families and the loss of generational homes. We'll talk about gentrification, but we're going to talk about it in different ways over time. How it affects this, how it affects that. That way it can hit somebody bullseye with like, whoa, that's me right there. Let me listen to what is shared. Not because I'm trying to be heard. It's just like, if I see something, I'm going to tell you. If I see a big bug crawling up on your back, I'm going to knock it. I'm going to say, excuse me, you got a bug on your back. Can I knock it off? I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, let's wait to see if it crawls up on your neck and stings you. Because you got people like that, right? Okay, what's the next one that we're on now? Legal support for homeowners. Engage legal experts to help Black homeowners understand their rights, avoid predatory practices, and stay in their homes. Strengthen Black-owned businesses. Support Black-owned businesses in gentrifying neighborhoods to create economic opportunities and sustain the cultural identity of the community. And I want to say something on that. All Black businesses are not Black businesses, right? No, I'm talking about people who are Black, who own it. Yes, they're Black people, but they're not Black-minded. Some of them are members of certain organizations and groups that are a thin membrane between the white power structure and sucking the life out of you. But you see a Black face and they'll talk the Black talk, but they're agents for the betterment of someone else's cause. Like, what does Dr. Umar say? You're getting that white Jesus money. They're getting that white Jesus money and bringing it straight on downtown to the other banks so they can do their construction and gentrify other neighborhoods. I'm not saying all churches or all businesses, but let's see where they allocate their money to. Do these Black-owned businesses, the owners, live in Black neighborhoods? Or do they have an interest in Black neighborhoods? Are they hiring children or youngsters from the Black neighborhoods and benefiting the children there? Are they helping that neighborhood to flourish? Maybe they're financing and contributing to certain educational programs for the Black children so they can have some sense and know something. Of course, you're going to have a little food there because their little minds are not going to sit there for 6 hours on something what they may look at as boring. Have it like a little plaything and then have a little talk about some things. They don't have to go too deep, but make them aware of it. My father and mother didn't throw encyclopedias at me when I was 4 years old, but they talked to me in a way where I understood. April, welcome on in. Thank you. Oh, Sanji, outside in your car? Okay, cool. We're everywhere today. Beautiful Sunday. Yes, but these are the things that impact us. You can have somebody living next door to you going through so much and you just don't know. Look, let's even take whether it's a subdivision or not, okay? Let's take a little subdivision or an area that's the size of a subdivision. What if, this is just off the hip, what if all the people who live there, right? And this is a predominantly black neighborhood. If you're not, you can get down power in numbers to save us all, right? You step to Costco, Whole Foods, Sam's Club, Target, Walmart, and say, hey, we need to work a deal. We have 55 houses here that all use toilet paper. What can you do for us? We got 55 houses here who all buy aspirin. What can you do for us? We have 55 houses here who all intend to buy a brand new computer. What kind of reduction on the price can you give us, since we're definitely giving you 55 sales? And then you go to the next store with the best and get the best offer. And whether you're all looking for computers or not, maybe your family who doesn't even live in that subdivision wants one, and you work it out that way. Hook up. You see, power in numbers, just on simple things. Riri, welcome on in. Yes, power in numbers. We understood that back in the civil rights movement. But how many of us would boycott a bus and walk for miles every day? You know, it rained on some of those days, right? You know what? There was terrible thunderstorms. And some people got in their cars and drove some of the people along who are too old or too weak. It's okay. You're not cheating. You're just not getting on that bus. Power in numbers. What happened to the politicians that should be speaking this way? Right? What do they face when they attempt to get into politics and they speak this way? Why is it that they can't follow through? Why is it that they can't stimulate the minds of people who may not be aware, who understand the power in numbers? That's all I say. Power in numbers. What's your campaign built on, Scurv? Power in numbers. Knowledge and education. Letting the people know what needs to be done, giving them the information and showing them how they need to utilize this and come together. Come together and become their own saviors. Because ain't no politician going to be your savior. And they know things. Why don't they share things? Why don't they have talks with the people every week and be accessible every day of the week? Here's my hotline. Here's this. Here's that. They can do it. Where are they most of the time? I'm a retired dude way out in West Africa, and I try to do one of these shows every day. The times I fell off is because I was doing construction, or if I fall off because of a power outage. If I can do it, and I ain't getting that much money, and I'm not saying they're rich, but they got perks. They got their little suits, and they go here, they go there, they speak a little bit, go to this dinner, whatever. They're getting something somewhere. Why don't you see them all the time? Why don't you see them walking down through the streets and talking to people? Now, if I was a politician and I was in America in some small town, trust me, they go Scurv again. He was out here for 3 hours on the corner talking to the guys yesterday. Dang. I'd be so accessible, most folks would start complaining, but I get work done. Because I like the joy of the process. And then when it comes time for re-election, wouldn't even have to campaign. Hey, listen, y'all know what I do. You know what I mean? Yeah, Sweet D, what happened to Black Lives Matter? Because Black lives didn't matter. It didn't matter. Black lesbian pockets mattered the most. That's what it's all about. LGBTQ movement always find themselves with Black people in their struggle. Well, we have similar things going along with us. And as soon as we help them over the wall, we reach to give us a hand back. Now they don't know us. I will about individual LGBTQ issues on Black people, on mental health. I'm not condoning or supporting certain things. I'm talking about from the side of a human being that commits suicide, or, these things that happen through that. I'm gonna go in on that. And by no means I'm saying, well, I'm bending on it. I support. No, I'm not support. Look, man and woman to man, straight Black family pride. But a lot of times And I'm not saying that all the same gender-loving people were molested, but there's a lot of ways to be hurt and twisted and seek comfort in a way that somebody else is looking to take advantage of you. I'm going to go in on that. But by no means it's black man, black woman, black man. That's it. But there's a lot of people that are hurting and need help. After that, you can keep on healing. You do what you want to do. I ain't going to help you with that stuff. That ain't me. Okay? But I don't hate nobody. Next, fight for rent control and affordable housing. Advocate for rent control measures and the development of affordable housing options in gentrifying neighborhoods to prevent displacement. Rent control, good idea. Again, power in numbers. If it's two people showing up somewhere at City Hall or protesting or marching, which marching does nothing, you got to put your money where your mouth is. You understand? And see, when we improve ourselves, we improve our power. When we improve our individual selves, we improve our power so that when we join on with others who look like us, we are synergistic. That if two powerful people in the community join together, it's like 25 people. But if you're knuckleheads, you're not living right, you're liquor heads, you're doping it, you're womanizing, you can take 50 people and have the impact of 1.5 because you ain't coming with nothing. You see what I mean? We have to empower ourselves. We can't wait for somebody just to knock on the door and say, I'm going to empower you. There's things required of the people. Don't just sit there and wait for the Jesus person to come out of the sky and save you. You're going to have to read, research, discuss. Why wouldn't you want to do that when it's to empower yourself? And then when your children see you doing this type of stuff, that's normalcy for them, and they're going to follow through with it. And they're going to be just like you. My mother been to school. She was at the Juilliard School of Music and graduated with flying colors. Opera. I don't know the exact degree. But in the early 70s, she went back to school to learn different things in the medical industry, right? And in that, she had books on psychology. And I love those books. They were just sitting around. I'm 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, reading these books, not understanding everything, but becoming acquainted with certain things. And then I would hear her talk with her friends and my father talk with their collective friends. The conversations rubbed off on me. That's why I talk so much. But things of substance. Now, y'all know I can talk foolish and tell some crazy jokes, but that's not the core of me. I can't just stay there. You know, this morning I got emails. Oh, no, not emails. I'm sorry. WhatsApp messages. First thing in the morning. Hey, Lance, look at this ass. I'm like, man, okay, nice. Damn, man, I got something I got to do. Well, I got more to show you. I don't want to see it, man. I got stuff. That's why I ran out the house and went outside by my front gate and did those shorts. I'm like, man, I want to get something done. The starting line is here, and I hear the shot. Boom! I'm awakened. Let me wash up. Let me get something to eat. Let me get back to work. And the day flies by so fast. So for me, it's 4:39, and I can't believe it. The street light in the front comes on like around 6:28, depending, 6:25, 6:28, but around in there. But it's still like a little lighter, 6:05, 6:15, but right around in there, boom, it starts to get dark. So basically, I got less than 2 hours of light. I mean, I got light inside my house, but 2 hours of light that if I want to go out there and do something in the yard or record something more and come back and prepare for the next show. I love that focused way of living, a disciplined way of living. And if we can be more that way toward a goal, if you have no discipline anywhere else in your life, at least kind of discipline in unity. You see what I mean? Promote financial literacy. Provide Black families with financial literacy training to help them manage their finances, protect their homes, and invest in their futures. I made a lot of dumb mistakes when I was younger on a financial level. Yeah, I admit it. I was confused and just emotions, and I want that. You know what I mean? I don't care what the interest rate is. I'm going to pay for it. After 2 or 3 payments, you're like, man, wait a second. You know, money that you spend unnecessarily. I am living lean right now because I want to see this place finished. And that's my pride and joy. My focus is on this place. I can relax and say, well, instead of finishing it by the end of the year, I'll finish it in 2. Let's go to the club tonight. Let's go blow some money somewhere and make it rain. No. Let me take a sip of water, y'all. Give me a second. But you can't tell people things. That's why anybody who has a modicum of wisdom, when they tell me something, of course, I'm going to examine it and see how it fits for my life. But if it's tried and true and works for me, I submit to that. I don't care what the source is. I don't care who it is. Anybody can tell you falsehood and speak out their head to sound like to sound like they're a scholar. But anybody can also, that you may not know, that you may look at them and say, they don't know what they're talking about. I remember I went to Atlantic City, had this nice Chevy Astro van, and I was giving tours out there on the side. Aside from my job, I was always doing something extra. And I spent a couple of days out there with the people. They went out there on this particular New Year's. I'm not sure. It was 96 to 97, 97 to 98. I'm not sure. But of course, I got my own little room and everything. They paid for it. They paid for the food, the gas, everything like that. And on the way back, for some reason, it was nighttime. But for some reason, they were doing some construction and it wasn't easy to get on the highway. So you had to go to the next exit. But all of the roads are zigzag going in these subdivisions, turning out of it. I asked these different people, they're walking, they weren't driving. So they didn't know. Oh, I think you go down this, man. We were around there like about an hour trying to get up out of that one little area. There was an old white wino sitting on the curb, leaning up against the pole. I started slowing down. The people in the back, come on, man. She ain't gonna ask that guy. He can't even stand up. Look at him. He pissed his pants. I said, hey, get out of here. Oh, another one. I'll tell you, I should start charging. People in the van were like, come on, man, get out of here. This fool don't know what he's talking about. I started to ease off. They said, no, hold on. I'm going to tell you. You see that white fence down there, 2 blocks down, right there to the right? You turn right down that block. You go as far as you can go, which ain't far. You're going to tee off. You can go left, you can go right. You go left. You take that street straight up. You'll see the highway overpass. But there's a tiny road next to it. Don't go under the underpass. Go right on the road to the right. It doesn't look like it's a real road. It's a dirt road they're going to be working on. That's how you get on the highway from here. This guy looks like he knows what he's talking about. I'm like, come on, Lance, try it, man. I got to get up to go to work in the morning. Let's see if we can get up out of here. I did. We went down the 2 blocks where the white fence was. Right. Went straight down to where it teed off. You could only go left or right. We went left. We took that straight down. We saw the overpass. And before I went under the overpass, there was a dirt road that was, I don't know why they left it that way. I mean, that's what people are using. You see tire marks and everything. I went up on a bad boy. Boom, I was on the highway. You never know where truth will come from. Earth Angel, yes, welcome on in. I'm so glad you're here. You never know where it's going to come from. Try it out. See if it works. Lobby for anti-displacement policies. Work with local government officials to enact policies that prevent displacement, such as rent stabilization, affordable housing incentives, and property tax freezes for long-term residents. You should get some brownie points for being a long-term resident. You should get some brownie points for being there so long. You're elderly now. You have a track record of paying taxes and being an upstanding member of the community. That should count for something. You see what I mean? It should count for something. But in America, it doesn't. You're just a number. You're just an opportunity to use and toss aside. And this is what you learn when you go through like a foreclosure. Friends of mine that were going through it, they were so surprised how there was no empathy. It's business, man. Your house commodity that they want for themselves. They don't care about your memories. They don't care that you grew up there. They don't care that you were born into that home. It's dollars and cents. And with America, that's what it's all about. These people don't have any feeling toward you. Shoot, they don't even have no feeling toward themselves. They don't care about themselves. So how are they going to care about you? See, we're spiritual beings. Even those of us who have turned our back on any level of spiritual being and knowledge, right? We still understand it. I've seen some of the hardest criminals locked up show some kind of heart under that tough exterior. We can be reached, but we're so distracted. We're so distracted and infused with the lust to get more things and do this and do that for our image. It doesn't matter. We're here on this earth. Yes, we're not going to be in our bodies forever. We have to take care of our bodies, and we have to take care of where we lay our head. The bare necessities we have to look after. Who cares about a sports car? Who cares about a weave? I would have more respect for a woman who shaves all her hair off to save money to put her child in a better school. You see what I mean? I'd have more respect for a person who didn't want to be flamboyant. You get what you need, and there's certain things you like. If you want a little bit of ice cream on a Sunday afternoon, I'm not saying go bare minimum where you can't enjoy certain things, but this is the time where we have to be about it while the American dollar still has value. I'm here in Ghana, and CD, which is what I would say is the equivalent of the dollar, which is not, because I checked now, there was $1 for 15.65. This thing changes every week or two. Next week, it might be 16.85. As a matter of fact, just for the heck of it, let me search what the exchange rate is. It doesn't mean much to people who have the dollar because you're always going to get the proper exchange rate. But what about the people living here? When the money weakens, you can only buy less. And when you only make X amount, they're not going to give you more money to adjust. You're being squeezed. So right now, it's one United States dollar equaling 15.4. And a little better. 2 days ago, it was like 15.55. You see what I mean? When I first came here in 2019, it was $1 US for 5.75 CDs. So let's shave off the 0.75, and for the 15.54, shave off the 5.4. So you mean since 2019, when I came here, the value of the Ghanaian CD dropped down from where it was to a third of where it was? So let's flip this over in American dollars. What if, let's just say you made $1,000 a week, $1,000 a week, but now you make $333 a week. That's what it is here. That's what it is here. In many places all over the world. And even the dollar is losing, right? So there's so many different things that we have to be aware of, right? So the next one is maintain cultural institutions. Preserve key cultural institutions such as churches, social clubs, and community centers to maintain the cultural identity and unity of the neighborhood. Listen, everybody may not be a Christian in the traditional sense, but at least they're going over there and there's a little unity going on, right? I mean, right? I mean, it's keeping them intact. For some of the elderly, they may not even be Christians. They go in there because they know people are going to be there and that's their social club. Let me get a sip, y'all. Uh-huh. And the social clubs, those things were like glue. It warmed our heart over. Even with the churches, we understand what it is there. But at least that's the beginning of some type of cohesiveness. I just wish many of those who are there would get their head out of the deception and really open their eyes to really see, because many there remain stagnant. And then who am I to say? Maybe there's somebody else who's saying, I'm stagnant. Well, man, you've been doing these videos for years. You ain't changed. You know what I mean? It all depends how you look at it. It all depends. Plan for intergenerational wealth transfer. That's something we don't do. Encourage Black families to create estate plans, including wills and trusts, to ensure that generational homes remain within the family for generations. Isn't that something? See, we just, oh, we die and they'll get it. We die, they may not get it. They may not know, and they may not have how many people here know of someone who had a family member who inherited a home and they were younger and they got money from selling it immediately and goofed it off. It ended up broke. I know a guy who his parents left him the home, right? Legally, everything was done with the estate. He got the home. They were dead. I'm sorry to say it that way, but now he was on crack. He sold a house that was probably $250,000 for $5,000. And then people, they didn't care about him. He didn't get $5,000 was a lot to him. And then after he went through hell, this is like the Twilight Zone, right? He walked kind of hell, went to rehab after being locked up. Maybe like 10 years went by. And wouldn't you know it, that he ended up renting a room in the basement of the house that he grew up in, that he sold for $5,000. Ain't that sad? No. That's sad. That's the Twilight Zone for me. Clever Girl Reading says Black-owned businesses that create jobs would insulate us from this. The black dollar stays in our communities for less than 9 hours. That is so sad. Clever Girl Reading, I'm learning this now. You just told, I didn't know it was that bad. So please build us homes, hospitals, schools, etc. Yes. We talk about all kinds of things on this platform, but we got to talk about this kind of stuff more. And to many, it may be corny. Again, I'm not looking to get hits. You know what I mean? Community, like-minded people. And let's build it up slowly but surely. I know how to get hits. Heck, I mean, if I wanted hits and I had no morale, I'd be on the OnlyFans with a couple of these chicks around here. If I had a pimp mentality. It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, he was a crackhead. Yep. And sold the house. And it was run down because he couldn't maintain it anyway. He was on crack and he was trying to rent certain parts of it out. He kept demanding money. How are you going to take a month worth of rent money from somebody and come back later and I need more money? I just gave you a month. You know, the crack man. Oh, the fights. It was crazy. But you're right, Clever Girl Reading. Thank you so much for sharing that. The emotional, psychological impact of gentrification. The slow burn of gentrification puts immense emotional pressure on Black families. The constant threat of losing a generational home instills feelings of powerlessness, frustration, and sadness. Families may experience heightened tension with underlying issues bubbling to the surface as financial issues mount. Long-standing communication breakdowns can lead to family splits, creating silence and resentment that stretches across generations. The loss of a home also brings a profound sense of disconnection from both one's past and community, which can leave families struggling with feelings of grief and isolation. On the wrap up, but we can still talk a little bit after this. if you want to come on in. Gentrification is more than just a shift in the physical landscape. It represents a profound transformation that destabilizes Black families, destroys generational wealth, and breaks apart communities. The fight to keep generational homes is not only about preserving property, but also about preserving identity, history, and the possibility of a better future. By implementing strategic solutions, educating families, and advocating for fair policies, we can help protect Black families from the detrimental effects of gentrification and create stronger, more resilient communities for generations to come. See, that's beautiful and it can be done. But we also have to know that there are forces coming against us. There are pencil and pen pushes downtown that are setting things up long term so that we can't hold on. This is not by chance. It's definitely by design. But we can control the part that we have a part of. $9 in the Black community, that's a damn shame. And where does it go? It goes elsewhere. All the other races of people that may be elsewhere downtown or in our own communities. We have to learn to be more resourceful and where to direct our money. We can do powerful things. All the money collectively that we have in America. Heck, I look at myself by myself and Mr. Scurv, me and her together. We can do powerful things. And it's just us two people. I sacrificed my behind off to get to this point. Yeah. I didn't come out, I want to get me a car. Dude, I got dental work that needs to be done. It's going to wait, baby, until I finish this house. I'm going to have a new series called Chip Tooth Wisdom. I'm determined. I don't care. I got to reach the goal. And the bad part about it is that if we can't reach the goal collectively, we're going to have to decide that we can't carry dead weight that's pulling against us. And I hate to say that any Black people around us are, but a lot of them, look, how are you going to fill the bucket and you have somebody else poking hole in the bucket? You trying to fill it with water to walk across the field to bring it to your home, and somebody else is poking holes in it. You can't hang with them no more. It ain't going to work. Unity. Without the unity, I can read facts and ideologies that would help to bring us up until the cows come home. But it ain't going to happen until we have unity. Right? And we don't trust each other. Anyway, I know we've been ripped off a lot. You're right, Reese. They've been planning our demise for a long time, and many don't see it. Many of us are sleeping with the enemy. We want to be with the enemy. And those who benefit in their enemy mentality and with those who look out for them, they do not care about us. Michael Jackson was right. They never will. Why are we waiting? Why can't we take the love that we have to the colonizer, to the oppressor, and turn it in on ourselves and give each other a break, give each other a boost? Why should that's the theoretical subdivision that I talk about, right? Why can't, if one person's a mechanic, why are you leaving out of that area to go get your brakes done or your engine tuned up? Why don't we pool our money together? And I'm just saying 55. I don't know why I picked the number 55, right? I'm thinking over 55 community, a community. I'm not thinking of that age. I'm just saying people who live there. You should have your own little mechanic shop in there and a 24-hour mechanic that lives there that gets paid whether he's working or not because you have put together a certain amount. It don't mean it's going to be a lot. Right? You got AAA. You know you can call them if you're stuck on the side of the road. Well, why not have your own type mechanic that wherever you are and you're stuck, he's like a fireman and on call because, see, he doesn't have to worry about working. The community is his job. I will give him a break and say, hey, for the most part, Sunday, we'll let you take off. But if we have an emergency, we're going to call you anyway. You're a fireman. Why can't we have two like that? Why can't we have somebody who is a nurse or a doctor, that may be a doctor working in the hospital, right, on call, but he's going to give some of his time to the community that he lives in. The dude that knows how to do roofing work, plumbing work, electrical work. Why are we going outside of our community? Why can't we even employ those under the cover? There's going to be a cashless society. Well, why don't we learn to barter? If we have a home, why don't we have a home in that community where there's 55, 60 homes, where we all together purchase that home and house an electrician and his family, and there's 4 stories or 2 or 3 homes, plumber, electrician, and they're dedicated to working on our stuff. And they can have a job that sees what's coming in that cash society. Okay, Uncle Sam, well, you ain't really my uncle, but here, this is what you get. But I'm living for free. I don't have to pay mortgage or taxes. The community takes care of that because I give of my services. That's the only way we're going to make it. I can sit here all day and give examples all day long. Clever Girl Reading says it doesn't matter if they're planning our demise. We have to invest in our people and our communities by creating jobs. Other races do it. Exactly. And I didn't even see the comment, but that's basically what I was saying. You know, we have needs. We got to take care of them. Diane says you're correct, Lance. That's why the borders are open, allowing these illegal immigrants in. They are everything they can to keep us. Well, I guess you meant to say they are doing everything they can to keep us at the bottom. Giant says, work to remove envy, jealousy, self-sabotage, and build and learn and promote progress amongst one another. Exactly. Landon Price says, and the whole world tuned in. So many have a chance of waking up, but many is too late. Clever Girl Reading says, we don't like each other, but that's okay. We'll come together for our businesses if the business is decent. That's right. We need our own hospitals and communities. We need our own schools. We need our own banks. Yes, we need our own grocery stores. Why? Because of racism. We also need these things because we have needs specific to our communities. Yes, we're keeping ourselves at the bottom. Yes, we are. They're definitely trying to replace us with immigrants. Oh, yeah. But you see, it's just like in boxing. When you go into the boxing ring, you can't go in there, oh, I don't know what the opponent's going to do. I know they're going to try to hit me. They're going to try to hurt me. Oh, my God, they're going to try to take my head. No. You know this because you're trying to do the same thing to him. But don't concern yourself as much of what they're going to do. Know what you're going to do. You see what I mean? Have your defense, but know what you're going to do. Let him be worried about what you are going to do. Because when you start catching blows, when you're worried about what they're going to do or how they're going to hit you, it hurts more because you don't have an answer for it. So when you have an answer for it, it doesn't bother you. But we have like Clever Girl Reading said, we have our own stuff. We going back home to our community. We don't care about you either. But we have to go to them. It's a shame that we don't own our own grocery stores. And we have to say, well, you know, we can't shop over here in the black neighborhood. We got to go over the way the white people shop because they got better stuff over there. Why? See? We don't demand. We don't demand. I live in a predominantly black and Hispanic community. I can go to at least 4 Hispanic grocery stores near my home. No black grocery stores, though. Yeah. And you know, the sad part about it is many of us, if we saw a black grocery store, what are we going to do? We're going to think it's subpar. Or we want the hookup. You see what I mean? We're going to want the hookup. We're going to want the hookup. It's like, it's nuts. Let me drop the link if anyone wants to come on in and say anything before I wrap it down. I'm going to prepare for the show later on. I got a bunch of topics I want to talk about. And I said I'll come on now, and this one will be a little shorter, but a little extra taste on a Sunday afternoon, right? And there it is. Let me take a sip of water, y'all. Give me 15 seconds. Oh, I had to take a few extra sips on that one. Yeah. So that doesn't stop our conversation on gentrification. That's just one aspect of it. The loss of generational homes. I've seen it time and time again. Like I was telling a buddy of mine the other day when he came over, how there was a friend of mine who their family lost their home and they didn't talk to each other. They had a rift and everybody started holding back their money. And all of a sudden, foreclosure time came. And so most of them were at work when the sheriff came to lock everything down. And I think they took some things out or something like that. I'm not sure, but furniture was out, clothes, and emptied out closets and threw it out on the side of the driveway. And when my friend was coming home, it was sad. It's funny, but it's not funny. We have little favorite clothes that we have that, might have been popular back in the day. Nothing big. It could be a T-shirt with a saying on it. And it has a little rip on the side, a little bleach stain or a little something that never came out. So that's your shirt. My friend's walking down from the subway station and he sees this little Indian boy walking down the street with a shirt that looked just like his, with the same little bleach stain on it, and by the right shoulder had a little rip. He looked like this. It looks just like my shirt. Well, when he got home, he realized that so many people had rummaged through his family stuff after the sheriffs came and threw everything out. So there was a shop that sold used furniture. They saw a table that they had in the house there. They came by and took the table and stuff that was put out on the curb. That's sad. That's humiliating. I don't want to go through nothing like that. So this is why for me, it's best to move sure-footed, in a certain way. You gotta be about it these days. But for many of us, we will make it. Many of us may not, but we have to make the way for ourselves. In the battle, like they say, the Creator doesn't put too much on you that you cannot handle. And I'm one who not only believes it, but I know it. So any challenge that's put in front of me, like I say, I don't like to use the word problem. I say challenge, because problem is too heavy of a word. When it's a challenge, it's a call to action. Call to action to show how much to the world, how much of a champion I am. And I don't mean that in a narcissistic way, like I'm souped up on myself. But you have to know, it's just like every fighter that steps in the ring knows that he's going to win. He can't focus on, well, one of us is going to lose or I'm going to lose one day. No, you can't have that mental crack in your armor. And when you do lose, you get back up. You keep going. But every challenge has a solution. If you want to say problem, that's on you. But still, every problem has a solution. It's up to us to figure it out. I'm going to step off right now. I'm going to get something to eat. And I'm going to take a little short meditation, 20-minute nap. I hope it's 20 minutes. Right? And I'll definitely be back later on at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And we will talk again. And I want to make it a good topic. I want to thank everybody for coming through. Thank you all so much. Much love. Beautiful Sunday afternoon chat. And thank you all for sharing your perspectives and opinions, because it makes me wiser. But I didn't know that 9-hour thing messed me up. That one, oh man, what is it going to be, like 20 minutes next? Anyway, I'll talk to you all soon. And you probably won't get a notification because I already did so many shorts, and this one here, I might upload something I did before I did this show. I'm on a roll today. So around, I'll say 9 o'clock my time, which is 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and count it back accordingly. And we will convene again later on. I look forward to it. Thank you all so much. Peace.